I've recorded this video so many times. No introduction needed. Serum 2, even though I've just introduced it. I'm quickly going to say this is probably going to be my favourite synth for a long time, and that is because Serum 1 shaped dance music into what it is today, electronic music in general. This is going to do the same again, and what results are we going to get out of this? We haven't just got a wavetable editor anymore, we have multi-samples, samples, granular and spectral oscillators on here, and that's just mind-blowing for an update that is free to existing Serum users. So pray to the Duda gods. That is a fantastic update. If you're not in the Serum club, you can get hold of Serum 2 at a discounted price. No affiliation, by the way, but just to let you know, there is a discounted price for the initial launch. So let's have a look. We've got a nice layout. We've got sub through to noise, left, right, makes sense, like an EQ, low frequency to high frequency. So in a teaching way, that makes more sense. And it's familiar as well. So you can see all the controls look the same. Some things have changed, but if I was to say, let's go to the D tune of oscillator 1, we all know it's here. You can see if you've already used Serum. So a few things have changed, but majority of it has stayed true to the original. So some of the features that I like, we're not going to go through everything in depth. One of the main things I like here is the fact that we've got all of these oscillator types, but we also have the ability to route them to dual filters. We have dual filters now in Serum 2, which is very welcome. So we've got two filters. We can have just one or the other. We can have a blend of both, depending on what you're trying to do in your sound design. So that makes flexibility much more flexible, if that makes sense. With that, we have the option for all the unison options to appear in the oscillator window instead of the global tab. So if you're familiar with that, in Serum 1, it's in the global tab with the modes, the stacking, all that sort of stuff. So nice to see it's there. And if you're using a wavetable, let's just go to default shapes. You can see here when we hold a key, let's just turn that filter off. It just jumps between each different shape. There's no blending or anything like that. And sometimes you get a bit of a dodgy wavetable that doesn't work, and you might not be familiar with the wavetable editor and you might find it a bit daunting. Now you can right click on wavetable position, smooth interpolation. Without it on. Makes things much nicer, much easier, and it's just one click. My favourite feature of the oscillators in general, not just the wavetable, we have the option for distortion at the oscillator level now, which beefing up waveforms and things, you usually have to do that, export it, re-import it. You get the idea. Now we can just do it here, and we don't have to bother doing that. We've got True FM in here as well. That's going to be a very nice welcome feature to a lot. And let's jump into another one. So let's go to multi-sample. So we can now load pianos in here with no issues. Let's load the Baby Grand. I'm just going to put some extra release on this. Doesn't do what I expected, but hey ho. But now we've got a Baby Grand. Let's crank that up a bit. And now we've cranked it too far. And you can see it's got velocity sensitivity as well. And there, that's very nice. So we've got a few options, but you can see in the multi-sampler, we have all the same options as we had in the wavetable. Same for the sample. We have all of the same controls. So before in the sampler, we just had essentially pitch and volume. That's pretty much all we had. And now we've got all of this. That's very welcome. And again, we can load in samples. Let's load in this. So you can see we've got the release on there. Let's just turn that back down. It'll just end with that sample. We can choose to forward loop it, reverse loop it, back and forth, loop the tail. There's all sorts on there. Let's just use the loop. So now we have a nice choir. But then we can go in and we can add, say, 6 voices. Let's make it a bit nicer. get the idea. There's a lot of options that can be had there. But then we can jump into the multi-sampler, into granular, and you can see the same sample is loaded in there, but now we've got granular options. So let's hold a note. Change the direction. And we can also use the warp feature in here by clicking this arrow. So we've got all of them options. So we can add some soft clipping, for example. And we could add a high pass filter. Let's go into Spectral. So this is probably the most exciting one for me in terms of sound designing, because now I've got a go-to synth to do all of this in. Again, same sample. But we have plenty of options here, including a dedicated spectral filter. So we can create some really weird, wacky, gnarly stuff in here with a custom filter. Just do what you want, create some nice sounds. That's a bit awful, but you get the idea. Clip into high heaven, but you can see there spectral filters have a dedicated filter. Let's just do one unison on that. And then we can control that mix. And I think one of the good things in here I saw in a video is if it doesn't have any low information, like that particular part, you can see the harmonics are here in the brights, and then the noise is kind of the dispersed colours there. We can add in, and I've forgotten where you go to do this, you can add the fundamental in there as well. If I can remember where to go. Is it in here? Ignore me, I can't even remember where that is. But you can change and add the fundamental in there and create low end, because it'll calculate and do all that good stuff. So that is sort of the oscillators there, very briefly and crudely done. Don't worry about it. We have the noise oscillator here. I say it's an oscillator, it's still sample based, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we have colors in there. We have the original sounds. I don't see it as a generator as such. Filters. We have all the usual suspects. Everything in there, right down to French LP and German LP in there, some of my favourites. But we now have these new ones, and Acid Ladder, MG Ladder, yeah, there's just so many in there. I could see DJ Mixer there. I have not looked at all these yet, but these are nice little additions, but they work really well as well. So you'll see in the next video when I do the acid sound. And like I said, you can have two filters and you can have them in parallel. You can have them operating on independent filter, on independent oscillators and stuff like that. The mixer also helps you control this. So this might look daunting, but if you just look at the oscillator, you've got sub, A, B, C, and noise. Sub, A, B, C, noise, and then filters, buses, and main and direct. So these are your effects. So we've got two bus channels that we can send certain oscillators to, and then we have a main oscillator for the master effects. So that's really handy as well. It's going to open the world, the floodgates to crazy designs. And you can see here are the buses. We can load some in. So like I've got my 303 chain here, the basic 303. Then on the bus, let's just say we want, I don't know, bass tamer. So we can have that on there. And then up here, we can send that to bus 1 and filter 1. And we've got the effects from bus 1, and it's also going to the filter and then through to the master effects as well, if you choose to route it that way. So you can see bus goes here. So you can say it goes to the direct out, to the main effects, or to bus 1 if it's bus 2. And you can see bus 1, we can put it into bus 2. So we can have chains of effects if we need that. Going to open up so many options. Very similar to Snap Heap, in my opinion, for kilohertz. So with that, that is pretty much everything for the top section. We have 8 macros. I love macros. They're great for shaping and changing sound and just doing what the sound designer intended. But we've got 4 more. And when you're programming them, it just takes a lot of time. So it's a love-hate relationship. I like the fact there's 8, but I also hate the fact that there's 8. So moving on to the envelopes. We have the usual controls, but you can see here we have a BPM switch. So now we can make these crazy sort of psytrance basses and make them really precise. We don't have to use the LFOs, and that leaves them open for doing all other manners of crazy things. And you can see here we can just change that to, let's just say, eighth notes or quarter notes or 16th notes, so we can get really precise with that sound design. That is a really handy feature. Also in the LFOs, we have some new sections here. We have a path mode, and we can create a custom path. Mind blowing. Gonna have some fun with that. Chaotic, or chaos, should we say. We've got the Lorenz, very similar to the Vital Lorenz we have in there, so it creates some truly randomized stuff. Yeah, loads of stuff in there. I'm probably overlooking quite a lot. And then we've got the familiar stuff here. We've got an arpeggiator. Boom. Let's just get rid of that noise. And I think, can we turn this on? There we are. We have an arpeggiator, folks. Not going to program one today. And then we also have a clipper. If we look in here, so I say clipper, a clip module where we can draw MIDI or add MIDI files into and have them directly playing within Serum. Very nice feature. It's going to open up a lot more preset designs. Yeah, instead of having to use these LFOs to create the movement, that's just going to be so much quicker now. Very welcome feature. And yeah, that's it, I think, really, in terms of the features that I really like. In fact, no, I lie. In the main section for the effects, I'm just using the main section. I really love Convolve. This is probably going to be my go-to now. And I think just messing around in the long section, I think it was Digital Hall 1, beautiful on Trance synths and Lux and things, really nice. So looking forward to showing you that as well, and as well as loading in some chains from your favorite creators. I'm not in there, obviously. I'm not everybody's favorite. But with that, we have a familiar matrix, and we have some more global settings in here. We've got sequencing, I take it that's sequencing for pan, detune, cut off, envelopes, modulation. Yes, there's a few things happening on the back here, but like I said, most of it has now moved to the front in this cog icon, where we can choose the modes from linear to super. If I didn't mention that, that's where you can do it. I've recorded this video a couple of times and it's gone wrong. So, but there we are. That is my take on Serum 2. In the next video, I'm going to create that acid sound. I'm going to very crudely do it just to show you how quick we can get that result using some of the new features in Serum 2. So thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, drop me a like and a subscribe. I don't often say that, but if you are new here, there's a lot of things happening on this channel, including my arpeggio series, and that is probably one of the biggest reasons to come to this channel. So thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Take care.